I don't have time to make a cool intro because I'm busy playing video games. Welcome to Raids 3. I'm so excited. It's finally time for another raid. Here is the invocations board. You've most certainly seen other YouTubers take you through every single boss so far. I'm very much late to the party, so what I'm going to try and do to add value to this video is tell you all of the mechanics from all of the bosses at the lowest level. First, we have Akka's room, which is the Path of Het. You have to solve a light puzzle. Don't worry, this one is a lot easier than Song of the Elves. Once you get into the boss room, which is Akka, you will walk in and Akka will target the first person that walks through the door and will be attacking with melee. You need to attack the boss with mage because the overhead prayers are for melee and range when you walk in. After a certain amount of attacks or time, the boss will change its overhead prayers. When it changes its overhead prayers, you need to attack it with melee next, but then you also need to pray range, and then after a certain amount of attacks, it will change its overhead prayers. You need to attack it with range, and you need to pray mage at the same time. Once you get the boss to about 75% hit points, it will spawn statues. You need to kill one of these statues to get the boss back vulnerable again. Once you kill the statue, you need to keep the boss within the quadrant of the killed statue for it to be vulnerable to your attack. You repeat this process for 50% and 25%, and then when you get to the final phase, Akka is almost dead. It will respawn some hit points and then start teleporting around the room. You need to run around with melee and kill it until it is dead. You need to avoid all of these orbs that are going around the room, but what we do is just chuck redemption up and hope for the best at the moment. Akka has a couple of special attacks. One of those being when he lights up these stones in the ground. You have the death, the fire, the prayer, and the lightning. It will do a pattern. It will show you. It will light up on the ground. And what you have to do is stand in those quadrants in that order to avoid the damage. The second special attack, he'll either turn your character black or white. If it turns black, you basically don't move. If you move, you run around your quadrant, you'll drop these energy orbs on the floor and your teammates can run into them, or you can even run back into them. If you turn white, there's a different attack for each quadrant, but they are basically AoE damage. You want to stand as far away from your teammates as you can. And that's what we know about Akka so far. Next up is Barbar in the room of the Amascut. Path leading to Barbar's room is basically a reskin Nilo from TOB. You'll have these little baboons coming out of the walls, and it's basically as simple as attack the mages with range, attack the melees with mage, and attack the rangers with melee. At different points throughout the room, one player will be giving a Amascut sight, and you will either have to repair the pillars, pour some of the liquid down the vents, or use the liquid on your teammates. Only the person with the sight will be able to tell you which one of these you need to do. Barbar's room, this one is a pretty simple one at the lower invocations. You just attack the boss with a rapier and it will attack you back with melee. It can hit through prayer. It has a couple of special attacks. Number one, you'll have rubble falling from the roof. When this happens, you will see, depending on your team size, a certain amount of rocks on the ground that seem to have hit points. 2 or 3 attacks after this happens, Barbar will throw a giant boulder at you and you need to stand next to these rocks in order not to take massive damage. The next special attack, he will put some shadows on the ground. These basically come out from wherever he's facing at a diagonal and you just need to avoid them. Personally, I run underneath the boss to avoid this attack. And the last one is the Boulder Attack. You'll get launched to the back of the room and you have to avoid these boulders. There'll be 1 boulder in each set of 5 that is killable and you need to kill that one so you can run through. And that is Barbar, ladies and gentlemen. Next up is Keffree in the Path of the Scarabus. In the path, you have 6 different puzzles that you need to solve. All of these are very intuitive except for one, and that is this puzzle right here. So I'll let you guys know each of these different symbols correlates to a different number, and you have to use those numbers to make up the number that is crafted on the plaque. Picture on screen right now of all of the symbols and the numbers that correlate with them. It's 1, 2, 3, top to bottom, left to right, all the way to 9. The Keffree boss fight is one of the easiest ones in the tomb at the lower invocations. You basically just have to use either a Keris Partisan or a rapier on the boss, and it has 3 different phases. Once you get it down to 0 hit points, it will go into a cocoon and spawn a little melee Scarabus that you need to kill, and also a bunch of Scarabus swarms that you need to kill to stop them from healing the boss. All the while, it is dropping bombs from the ceiling. The second phase is much the same, except it will now spawn a Mage Scarabus as well. You need to kill this one as quick as possible because it will start dropping bombs on you that you cannot avoid. And then after the third phase, Keffree will become vulnerable and you just have to kill the rest of its hit points. Keffree has several attacks. Number one is the bomb attack, which is the auto attack. It will constantly be dropping bombs on your head and you need to avoid them. This is pretty simple. And the second one is the Dung Attack. You will get launched to the back of the room and a trail of shit literally shot at you. You just need to run out of the way, but this will lock off a quadrant of the room. Try to avoid locking off too big of a quadrant so you can freely run around. Last but most certainly not least, my favorite boss in TOA, and that is Zabak in the path of the Crocodile. The path to get to Zabak, you basically have to do like a sepulcher type puzzle to run past, get water, fill it up in your bowl, and run it to water the tree. The boss fight is, once again, relatively simple in the lower invocations. The boss will attack with melee if you stand close enough to it, but then has two other attacks if you stand away from it. That is a range attack and a mage attack. Zabak has two special attacks, one of those being the waves. They are very similar to the waves in the Galvek fight, and the other being the roar, where he will put down these things on the ground that you need to stand behind. However, they are covered in poison. You need to break the pots around them to clear up the poison so you can stand behind them for when he does his roar. Before you head into the final boss fight, you will be given some supplies. You get to choose between 3 different packs, either the Life, Chaos, or Power pack, and they have a few different things inside of them. The red potion, Restore. The yellow potion, Sara Brew. This is a silk dressing. It will restore your hit points over time by a decent amount. This is a Scarabus. This will restore your prayer over time by a decent amount. These are smelling salts. They're basically an overload from Raids 1, except they go up to 125 stats instead of 120. This is a liquid adrenaline. Once you drink it, you'll have about a minute where your special attacks will cost half as much as they normally do. That's right. 4 claw specs. And this is an ambrosia, the most overpowered potion in the raid by far. No matter what hit points you're on, no matter what prayer points you're on, you drink 1 dose of this ambrosia and you'll go up to 125 hit points and 125 prayer points. It's insane. The final boss, the Wardens. This is the coolest boss fight I've ever seen in my entire life. Not overly difficult, but most certainly the most visually pleasing I have ever seen. To start, you need to attack this obelisk in the middle and kill it. It is charging up the Wardens for their special attack. So they have 2 special attacks in this phase. That is the UFOs. You just need to move out the way of them. You don't want to stand underneath them or you'll take damage. And the balls. I don't exactly know how the balls work just yet, guys, but I know you have to DD for one of them and potentially spread out for the other. I'm not 100% certain. Once the Warden comes out, you'll have to attack it with whatever it's not praying, and pray against whatever it's attacking with. The Vengeance-like skulls are the mage attack, and the other smaller skulls are the range attack. Avoid the special attacks that it puts out in this phase. Sometimes it will throw Vengeance at the ground and electrocute you. Sometimes the floor will light up red, and you need to avoid those red spots. After you do enough damage to the Warden, it will go down, and you need to attack this core. The core takes maximum damage from any melee hit. Whatever your max hit is, you will hit it every single time with melee. And you just have to repeat this process 2 times to get the boss down, or if you're quick enough, you can get it down in 1, and you'll be teleported to the final boss fight. In the final boss fight, I personally use melee here, but I believe you can use range as well. And the boss will move the tiles on the ground. It starts out on the left side if you're looking at the boss. Then it goes to the right side if you're looking at the boss, and then it will attack both sides, and you have 1 tile gap in the middle where you need to stand. After a certain amount of damage, it will put these skulls up on the ground, and you have to attack these skulls. Depending on your team size is how many hits you need to do on it. In a 4-man, you need to do 2 hits. In a 3-man, you need to do 1. I'm not too sure about the higher scales, but then it's straight back on the boss for the exact same thing again. Points throughout the raid, depending on what your invocations are, the boss will spawn other bosses from earlier in the raid, and you need to pray against their attacks accordingly. Then once you get it down to the final phase, it will start electrocuting the ground basically everywhere, and you have to try and avoid all of these shadows on the ground. It is absolutely nuts, this final fight, and that's why those ambrosias come in so handy. And that is the Tombs of Amascut, what we know so far. And this is a bunch of my clips from day one. Dude, the chest room is fucking sick! Magic Seed, Gold Ore, and Gold Bar. 6 Lily of the Sands.
What the fuck is a Lily of the Sand?
Shy. Straight to the GE with that, boys.
Dude, nobody's fucking
guys, I don't want to freak anyone out, but we have world record right now for entry mode 4-man TOA. We have world rec. We're on the board.
Let's go!
Oh, I just got one shot.
What? I just got one shot by what?
Yeah, I couldn't. I don't know how to damage it. I wasn't hitting it.
Okay, there you go.
So it's 3 tiles behind it.
Gotcha.
Okay, we know what we're doing.
Easy, boys.
It was...
What? Oh, nice.
There we go, boys.
Let's fucking
in time
go.
as well.
Let's go.
Does it give purple?
Sad. It's the sarcophagus in the middle that goes purple.
You're a
Oh my
fucking
God.
blood essence, bro.
No, I thought no, I'm talking challenge. I thought it was 29.
No purple.
Oh,
Got the thread.
Nah, no way.
Challenge rack. Yes! And we missed overall by 8 seconds. Number 4. What are we getting?
Dragon dart tips. That's
more of
so
those
Iron Man.
lilies. What
That is
the
smash.
fuck? We've absolutely
actually?
destroyed our PB there. That's crazy.
Oh my God, we beat it by like two minutes.
Yeah, dude, that's crazy.
What?
25-19.
bro.
Oh, we have
We've
both Rex
smashed
now.
it.
Both Rex.
We've smashed it.
Purple? Purple?
Oh my
Fuck
God,
off. Fuck off. Fuck off. Oh my God. Well, it's all of ours. No, it's not. You got no key? Go on, Hootie Tootie. Give us a staff. That is sick. That is sick.
Ooh.
Hey, that's pretty good.
That's what you want. That'll the...
That's nice. That's nice. I think that
pick it
goes
up?
straight on the GE. No way, that's over max cash. That's pretty fucking juicy.
Yeah.
That's nice. Broke our own record.
Oh, that's overall time. I was thinking
Yeah.
break time. Holy.
No, back to back. Sad as fuck, dude. I think one of the coolest things from this raid is at the end when you get a title. There's a bunch of different titles for how well you did in the raid. Have like the leech that did the least damage, the most deaths, things like that. It's really funny to go look at the board after raids. Oh, I've just maxed Scythe.
Oh.
50, 25, 12. Holy fuck. Now, I have to apologize, guys. I don't know what happened to the clip, but we did, in fact, get another purple. We managed to get ourselves another Fang in a 4-man, and that was a 107 mil split. I've had so much fun on release day in the Tombs of Amascut. As you can see, there's 21,000 global completions, and we got pretty close to having the world record. We had it a couple of times. It was really fun going for it, but there's only 2 expert completions, and that's what I'm going to be working towards for the next video. Look at that, 1,000 attempts and no one has managed to get an expert completion yet. It is absolutely insane. 2 players and up. It's all solo completions. That's what we're going to be working towards in the next video. Like the fucking video and subscribe.